Star Wars: Empire at War, a real-time strategy created by LucasArts in the middle of 2006 for the PC. Empire War is a very typical RTS game. It has a single-player campaign mode, a skirmish mode, and online multiplayer capabilities. Unlike most RTS games, however, it's got all the cool extras we like to see in the Star Wars games, such as Galactic Conquest modes, mainly featured in Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 2, and a new Space Battle mode that I'll be featuring later. In campaign mode, just starting now, you're given the opportunity to play as the Empire, the Rebellion, or the Zan Consortium in the expansion pack Forces of Corruption. The campaign mode itself is based on the original storyline starting in the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope. This moves on all the way to the final movie in the expansion pack. The campaign features some of the well-known parts of the story, such as the Death Star and its attack on the planet Yavin 4, and some of the less well-known parts of the story, such as the production facility that made the Death Star. Depending on what force you play as, usually determines the basic outcome of the war. So if you play as the Rebellion, you will be restoring democracy to the galaxy, or become the Empire and take over the galaxy. Each team has their own host of units, all with their own special abilities and their own characteristics, just like any other classic RTS game. Empire features heavy weapons, the Rebellion like to use their shields and speed, and the Zan Consortium use every dirty tactic they can, such as with the Zan Consortium, their destroyers use handy mass drivers to punch through shields without actually depleting them first. The ground battles featured in the game have a very good level of graphics. The units are well detailed, and if you have a computer to support the scenery also looks quite nice too. Each planet you fight on has a set number of reinforcement pads. This is where you would bring down extra supplies and reinforcement from. Each zone has its limits on the amount of units you're allowed on the map. However, if you capture more than one of these points, your domination of the map surely begins as you're allowed larger and better hardware. In this game, each team has its number of famous and in some cases infamous heroes we all know from the films, such as Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader and Boba Fett, just to name a small few. However, like the foot soldiers in the rest of the game, they have all been given really quite bad design characteristics, allowing the masterful Jedis to take only one swing every 15 seconds or so. Continue on a bad point for a short moment. If you ever play this game, you will find out very shortly that all the ground units have a ridiculous amount of HP, especially on ground infantry. This might not bother some of you players, but some other players out there more used to games like Command & Conquer and Supreme Commander will just give up after a certain amount of time. Space Battles is where this game really gets a show off. You can really tell this is where most of the game's effort was placed. Each ship, big or small, has been detailed extremely well, from individual bedroom lights on the Star Destroyers to the smoke emanating from damaged ships. Ships and fighters are built from your space station orbiting the planet or system you are in. From there, you simply place a unit on any section of map space. So long as it's in visual range, you can spawn it anywhere. This creates a very sneaky way of getting around the map without being detected, or an even nicer way of launching surprise attacks on larger ships with smaller cruisers. Heroes, like in the ground battles, become your main pushing force for the space battles. In this mode, they're not stupidly slow or half-witted. They have their weapons cocked and locked and ready to exterminate the enemy. Larger ships of the game have hardpoints tied into their HP part, making Empire War quite a tactical game when it comes to the order of destruction for an enemy ship. Also, when it comes down to your own ship, you want to make sure that these slow-moving brutes are facing the right way, as the direction and the geometry of your own ship is taken into account before any of the gun batteries can fire. To make the game a little bit more interesting for you perfectionists out there, LucasArts has added this pause button. No, not as in pause you take a quick break. Pause, then you get to stop the action and plan your next set of attacks without letting a single second pass. This comes extremely in handy when spawning a lot of new units, or when you have a lot of individual units with individual hardpoints to destroy. One other feature I thought was quite a nice touch was the interactive theatre mode. This mode allows you to step out of your command console and into the role of the cameraman, allowing you to watch the battle from a much more entertaining number of angles and in a lot more detail.
We've lost our turbo lasers.
Galactic Conquest is a feature we've all seen before in the other Star Wars games, such as Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 2. But in this game, LucasArts has taken the mode to an all new level, allowing real-time wars across the entire galaxy of well over 30 planets. The Galactic Conquest has multiple scenarios, so even if your campaign and multiplayer doesn't keep you busy, Galactic Conquest has enough story-based scenarios to keep you going for a very long time, making this game a very safe bet when it comes to cheap games for long-term use.
Still be dealt with, Lord Vader.
Mission log updated.
Finally, we come to the multiplayer aspect of the game, where everything just gets better. Online multiplayer is the most wanted piece of any game, and it's done extremely well with this one. Nothing has been cut back from multiplayer. Everything you could do on your own, you can now do with a friend, with the small exception of the pause and stop time controls, because that would just be ridiculous. You can now have small land battles with a friend, or if there's even more of you, you can go into Galactic Conquest and try and outweigh each other with your tactics. The gameplay itself is very good. I mean, obviously, multiplayer aspects of games are less than amazing if you built your own internet connection, but with the right connection, Empire Wars serves up to be one of the longest lasting games you'll play in a long while. Unless you despise Star Wars, then all you've done is listen to a small fanboy talk about Star Wars for about the past 10 minutes, and you might just be considering suicide right now.